everybody, my name is Michelle Clark, and today I will be talking about the right to know law regarding adoptees and their sealed records. Children who are adopted may or may not know their biological parents. This may be because of their birth parents' reasoning for their kids to be taken away. Due to the unfit, abuse, neglect, financial stability, these kids get placed into the foster care system. The intended adoptive family may or may not want anything to do with the biological parents, giving them a reason why not to have these records. The foster care system has been around for many centuries now. These kids are born to unfit parents and get put in the system in hopes to be adopted. But should kids in the system and get adopted out really know who their biological parents are? They have the right to know law, obtaining their sealed records due to their medical, psychological, and behavioral records. These adoptees should have the right to know, just so they know what to do in future references. With adoptees knowing their records, this can help them know about health information regarding their biological parents and biological family, regarding any diseases including cancer, Alzheimer's, and other medical diseases that can affect them later on down in the road. In my first source, providing adoptive parents with information about adoptees and their birth parents, all 50 states have their own opinion whether or not adoptees should have these sealed records, obtaining medical, psychological, and behavioral information. In Nevada, now in 2020, adoptive parents need to be provided with health and psychological information with the adoption process. Adoptees' mental health can be at risk if they do not know anything about their mental health records in their sealed records. This is affected because mental illnesses can be passed down genetically through like anxiety and depression. Due to substance abuse, brain defects, and prenatal damage, their mental health is even at more risk than any other kid out there because of everything they went through. Child welfare has stated that now in adoptions, they have to be provided with all these records for the safety of these adoptees. Adoptees, knowing their background, though, can be put into a mentally draining state, knowing about their sealed records because they are trying to draw away from the trauma in the past. Losses of Stimmel and Roser states that the whole point of adoption is to terminate all legal relationships between their families, their siblings, anyone else regarding, and this is because anyone that is adopted is because there's a reasoning behind it, from abuse, neglect, financial stability, or just being born to unfit parents. This puts these adoptees at risk if they know their biological parents, and these adoptive parents, all they want is for these kids to be safe. That's how any parent should be, especially with adopted parents. They want the kids to be more drawn into having a bond with these people instead of having a bond with their biological parents. That can put them at risk with any trauma and any problems that can happen later on in life. Medical background, though, is very important, and with the right to know law, these kids can know that whatever they could possibly have can be passed down to their future generations of kids. They can know if there's cancer in the family or Alzheimer's or any other medical or mental health problems that can be passed down genetically, like depression and anxiety. If you know your background, it can get the help and care that you need nowadays, especially with all new medical upgrades and doctor upgrades and such. In my speech today, I talked about the right to know law, which the right to know law is basically the adoptees knowing about their sealed records that pertain mental health, and psychological behavioral problems, anything above that pertains them and their birth parents / birth families. With the right to know law, this benefits these adoptees to know what can go on in their mental state, in their medical state, and know what can be done to help that. With the right to know law, these adoptees do have to see the mental state, do have to see the how draining it can be to know, because they are opening up about the trauma and the abuse and neglect they went through as a child. For instance, as I was adopted when I was 3 years old, I have no access to my sealed records due to the fact of my birth parents not knowing anything and my adoptive parents also not knowing anything. So I don't know anything about my medical history, that it stumps me every time I go to doctors and such. With the right to know law, adoptees can know anything from medical and mental health history and psychological problems, and this can benefit them to know from further notice. And yeah, thank you for coming to my speech.